Sweden is a small country located in Northern Europe. Along with neighboring countries, it is considered one of the most prosperous. And for good reason. The standard of living here is really very high, as are the prices, stability, and confidence in the future. Are what attract immigrants here looking for a better life. Tourists are attracted mainly by the carefully protected Swedish nature and the rich cultural and historical heritage of this country, the homeland of the Vikings. Ecology. The Swedes are very sensitive to the environmental situation. In the world, only 1% of garbage goes to landfills. 52% of it is used to generate energy, and 47% is recycled. The country is so good at getting rid of waste that it even has to import waste from other countries to keep its energy-generating plants running smoothly. Being late in Sweden. Being late or, conversely, arriving before the appointed time is a terrible mistake. Moreover, this rule affects all aspects of life, from business meetings to friendly gatherings. Swedes are very punctual and expect the same from others. Donation. In Sweden, people often donate blood, and when their blood saves the life of another person, donors receive an SMS notification. Languages. There are 2 Swedish languages, easy and difficult, as a rule. Most Swedes do not use difficult words in conversation and often do not even know their meaning. And if you learn a couple of words and insert them into a sentence, then everyone will think that you are a very erudite person. For example, difficult words include raid, objectively, interpretation. Hobbies. Swedes are avid fishermen. But fish are usually caught not for food, but for sport. They take pictures with the catch and calmly release the fish into the water. By the way, pike in Sweden is not considered an edible fish. What information is always publicly available? All phone numbers and email addresses are publicly available. You need the contact of a specific person. Any employee will be happy to provide it without agreeing on it in advance. Maternity leave. Any pair of parents has 480 days of maternity leave for both. Each adult can spend 3 months with their beloved child, and the remaining days are divided into 2 and taken as needed until the baby reaches 8 years. Neglecting parental leave means inviting universal condemnation. No one will appreciate this feat. Punishing children. Physical punishment of children has been prohibited by law in Sweden since 1979. This aspect is treated extremely strictly. Choosing a name for the child. Before giving a name to a child, it must be approved by the Swedish tax agency within 3 months after the birth of the child. Such interesting options as IKEA and Metallica, to the great joy of newborn Swedes, are prohibited. Common possessions. All land, except for areas adjacent to the house and intended for agricultural activities, is available to all citizens, regardless of who it belongs to. Here you can have picnics and pitch tents. The main thing is to clean up the trash after yourself. Dating in Sweden. In Sweden, it is not customary to talk to strangers on the street, on public transport, in a store, in general, nowhere. Moreover, the strangers column includes housemates, people working in the same office building as you, salespeople, and so on. Italian DeMarco shared a funny story. My Spanish friend went to work by train for 3 months. The same nice gentleman always sat opposite her. And then one day she decided to say hello to him, and he suddenly jumped up and ran headlong out of the carriage. Animals of Sweden. Swedish forests are home to a huge number of animals of varying degrees of danger. The most famous are moose and wolves. The summer population of moose in Sweden is estimated to be 300,000 to 400,000 individuals. Around 100,000 are shot in the annual hunt during autumn, and 100,000 calves are born each spring. It can be found all over Sweden except on the island of Gotland. Sweden has the densest population of moose in the world, but it's not moose that Swedes are afraid of. The most severe horror is caused by such cute creatures as badgers. The Swedes believe that if this wild animal bites a person, It will clench its jaws until the bone breaks. Cursed island of Sweden. The island of Blå Jungfrun in Sweden can be considered a truly mystical place. Since ancient times, sailors have tried to avoid it. There was a rumor that since the 16th century, it had been favored by witches and sorceresses. And many of those who visited it spoke of evil spirits who literally hunted for the living. Surprisingly, this still happens today. Having cast aside all prejudices, archaeologists went here. While conducting excavations, they came across ritual objects and mass graves. For to 9,000 years old, that is, Blå Jungfrun was a place for rituals, including, possibly, sacrifices for thousands of years. As for our days, all these stories fuel tourist interest. Many who have visited the island want to secretly take away stones as a souvenir. Often this brings disaster, a serious illness, or even the death of a loved one. The management of the Blå Jungfrun Park publishes on its website letters sent from tourists who have been here. They usually talk about some incident that happened in the first days. After visiting the island, often parcels contain stolen stones, which they try to get rid of. Artificial light. In winter, when daylight hours are woefully short, Swedes can simply go outside to enjoy the sun's rays, to prevent the local population from becoming despondent. Special lamps were installed at bus stops that create the effect of daylight. Manifestation of emotion. Even though it is not customary to show emotions clearly here, sometimes even harsh Scandinavians are torn apart by passions. Therefore, Uppsala University has introduced a wonderful tradition exactly at 10 o'clock in the evening. Any student can open the window and fill the surroundings with a heartbreaking scream or a terrible howl. This way, young people can let off steam after exhausting classes or failures in tests and exams. These are the unusual facts this amazing country keeps. Maybe you have friends in Sweden and know other discouraging facts. Share with us in the comments. Thanks for watching. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated with the latest world facts.